full shelves. To say Madame Stepanova was disappointed to find much of the department watching a view screen with snacks ready was an understatement. Her disappointed sigh only gets a few glances before turning back. "Vodka?" Sir Philip offers, holding out a flask. The bastard is going through the maintenance tunnels as his own hidden superhighway through the entire ship. It's smart, but annoying. "An explanation as well, please," she states, and he nods as she sniffs the drink and then takes a hard pull. "We're waiting on the results of a PR stunt. Effectively, we managed to get one of our soldiers with a more Hollywood, Bollywood actor's mindset into a new sitcom as a side character. The intent is to make the presence of humans more acceptable and unimpressive throughout the galaxy. Such a thing will allow greater ease of movement," Sir Philip explains, and she cocks an eyebrow. "I see. Such small measures are just the start, I hope." "Yes, but one must build a foundation first if they want a house to stand strong," Sir Philip remarks, and the screen activates with a jingle. There's a vaguely guitar-like instrument and what could possibly be a piano playing in concert as it shows a variety of robots and a couple of children pausing to smile at the camera with caption of actors' names followed by character names. The robots have secondary forms, it appears, with the male, one shifting into a vehicle, and 3 of the females integrating into the walls with a 4th, having a small horde of proxy bodies. What surprises her somewhat is the very different names above the children. Ordinarily, yes, rejuvenating comas. It must take dedication to one's work to be reduced to a child in order to play a role. Then there's a quick clip showing a man in a knitted sweater close a hidden wall panel full of weapons before giving the camera a sheepish smile. Samuel Davis as Sergeant Gregory Thomas, Sarge, is the caption. "I'm glad I'm not lactose intolerant, otherwise the sheer cheese could kill me. Oh please, after all the things we've done to each other, anything shy of the Reaper himself coming to collect will only irritate you," Sir Philip remarks as the credits shift to a swooping view of the high-tech house in an idyllic neighborhood, and Madame Stepanova cannot help but smile. "Oh, stop flattering me, you old deviant, I'm on to your tricks." She rebukes him as the episode starts. It starts with the little Pavorus boy whinging about how he doesn't like moving and how it's going to be boring and blah blah blah. He exits the car as numerous groceries are lifted out by some unseen force before the entire car transforms into what appears to be a Pavorus man, albeit quite literally the size of a semi-truck. A wall rotates and a robotic body that's mostly chrome shaped like a woman walks up and gives the little boy a hug, revealing that despite looking like solid metal, she's actually rather soft to the touch. There's some comfort, promise he'll make lots of friends, and that little Mojo is so full of charm and so friendly that he'll have more friends than he can count or remember. Of course, the brat will have an easy time. He's a scarce resource. You'd need to be royalty to be any more highly prized. Madame Stepanova grumbles as the little boy is coddled and pampered to a ridiculous degree. Then the older sister runs in and then out of the room with a splatter of paint all over her, and 3 of the other mechanical mothers in hot pursuit. "We have got to get that girl a healthier outlet." "The father," Lyle Chrome notes wryly as little Mojo Chrome giggles. There's a thump from outside, and the pair make their way outside to see a large van with a larger man moving things into the house next door. "Oh, I had wondered who had bought it. A Tret mechanist, maybe." The man clearly winces while carrying something heavy, and the father sends out a pale beam to arrest the object in midair. The man staggers before looking around. "Thank you, neighbor. Much obliged," Sarge says with a roll of his shoulders. There's an audible crack and he squats down to get a better grip on the box. "What's in there?" Mojo asks curiously. "Ammo," Sarge replies. "Ammo?" Lyle asks, and Sarge chuckles. "A minute, please," Sarge says, getting the box into the house and setting it down. He emerges after a moment. "Sergeant Gregory Thomas at your service. Call me Sarge." "Oh, Right. Ammo is short for ammunition. We humans go around armed. Came out of a rather dangerous patch of space, you see. Oh, you're human. I had been... Excuse me, Lyle says, picking up Mojo and walking away. All right, have a good day, Sarge says with a grin. He cracks his neck and resumes unloading his truck. I don't get it, Dad. Why don't you want to be near him? Mojo asks, and Lyle's internal lighting flickers for a bit. I've never enjoyed violence. It was never comfortable, not even tailblade dances. Humans. They're an apex race. Violence is a part of that man. Oh, do you think he'll be... I don't know. We don't know much about humans, so we're going to play it safe around him until we do know, all right? If he is safe, then I tell him I'm sorry for judging too quickly and hopefully that's the end of it. Lyle replies and Mojo nods. And if he's not? Then we call the police and hopefully no one gets hurt, Lyle says, and things cut to commercial. Really? This is the good advertisement for humanity? Madame Stepanova demands, and Sir Philip smiles. Just wait. We're perhaps a third of the way through the episode. Sir Philip remarks, holding a small pamphlet out, and she grabs it. It's a pilot synopsis. She scans through it and sighs. Really? Exactly what form of film did these fool directors watch? She asks, and Sir Philip lets out a slight chuckle. Oh, I think you can tell just from a few choice words. Yes, but, I mean really, he's a soldier, not a... Perhaps, but there's a bit of overlap, Sir Philip says, and she sighs. She swats at his hand when he tries to pat her on the shoulder. The show starts up again, and it's following little Mojo as he's being brought to school for public education. The older sister, Sasha, has to have a few cans of spray paint confiscated, which is enough time for the curious young child to wander off and start the mid-episode bit of stupid. Cue the mad scramble as the young man finds his way around to the library and starts reading the easier books while everyone panics just outside. It's the classic bit of sitcom stupid where everyone's looking for someone who's not lost and going into a panic. Once that bit of madness wraps up and he's found, and then lectured about not scaring people, we're introduced into a small horde of side characters that is the boys' class. It's a special one from all over the planet with all the little boys in his age category. It follows a cutesy bit of education to show that Mojo is ahead of his supposed level and peers, and it's all Madame Stepanova can do to not gag at how saccharine it all is. Then school's out and they get picked up by their father, who has some of their mother's main bodies with them, and things seem to be going well. Then they stop so the children can have a treat, a little parlor that serves some kind of deluxe candy that vaguely resembles ice cream. Then everything shifts as the door is booted open by a scarred and brutal-looking Canador who demands the money in the cash register and all jewelry at plasma cannon point. As she's getting her prize, she looks and round to spot little Mojo and smiles cruelly before reaching for him when the door opens again. Everything goes still as Sarge walks in. She turns and he's already in motion. She brings up her plasma cannon and there's a massive bang before it erupts in her hand. She's not hurt though and charges through the small fireball before the camera zooms in on Sarge's revolver that lets out a trinity of deafening shots. Don't look. This is dirty business, Sarge's voice says as the screen fades to black and things crash to commercial. The image of his smoking revolver being the last thing seen before an ad for some kind of scale cream begins playing. The highlight of the insane commercial is a Nagasha woman simply slithering out of an entire layer of scales as if shedding skin were somehow as easy as slipping off a pair of pants. I still can't believe that they took inspiration from Westerns for what they're going to be doing with Sarge, Madame Stepanova remarks, and Sir Philip chuckles. Apparently, it's a form of comedy that's considered clever and subtle. Having a side character clearly being the star of a very different story is both a running gag and a pitch for possible show of another type. So they're aiming to make a Western, likely with Mr. Davis as their star. It seems like it. Either way, he's making a grand first impression as a gunslinger that's also the next-door neighbor in a sitcom, Sir Philip says, and Madame Stepanova sighs for a bit before chuckling. I'm having quite the day. I just got off informing a young man how best to conquer an entire planet, and now I'm watching a cowboy-based PR stunt in the middle of some of the most schlocky and formulaic nonsense I've ever seen. It's what's truly magical about the galaxy. The absurdity is unending. Sir Philip remarks as a snack commercial for some kind of fruit treat plays. It shows a woman made of dozens of different fruits dancing and then doing a strange move where she falls down and is instantly a bar of dried and crushed plant matter, rather surreal all things considered. There are several more odd commercials, and then the show resumes with the family safely at home. One of the mothers has 3 of her bodies out, 2 cooking and one of them studying a cookbook as if it contains the secrets to life, the universe, and everything. Oh no, tell me that there isn't a running gag of a terrible cook despite cooking for the family for some 10 to 13 years. Yes and no, Sir Philip replies. I believe it's more akin to she rarely takes up the duty because she understands it so poorly. Still a rather poor excuse for a joke. Oh, but these sorts of things were never to my taste, despite having to sit through a few episodes of them to get certain. Well, I'm sure you can fill in the blanks. So-and-so has upset so-and-so or knows something they should not and need to be reminded of their manners and discretion in a place where they thought they were safe. It's a very common thing to do. Sir Philip responds as both children are talked through things and gently introduced to the concepts that were nearly forced on them by the Canador criminal. Then the saccharine nature of the show takes over and Madame Stepanova nearly gags before the subject swings around to Sarge. All 6 of them, 3 mothers, the father, and 2 children all head over to the neighbor's house and ring the bell. Well, good afternoon, neighbors. Exciting first day here, wasn't it? Yes, it was. I wanted to apologize for, well, Lyle begins and Sarge waves it off. I'm a soldier. I do all sorts of interesting things, and it's going to be very hard to insult me unless you make it personal. Yes, well, I also wanted to thank you. I understand you're not only an apex but a soldier as well, but killing someone is, well, Lyle sort of stammers off. It's clear he's very much the shy, gentle type, the kind of person you can just flat out ignore as you do your job or easily shout back into place if they get uppity. Oh, don't you worry, she's not dead. Hospitalized and thoroughly arrested, but not dead, Sarge says with a smile. But those bangs, those were explosions, right? Jenny, the oldest wife and the direct mother of Sasha, asks. Oh yes, tiny controlled explosions to propel bits of metal at an appreciable percentile of the speed of sound, or in other words, gunshots. Sarge explains with a smile. Is there anything else I can help you with? Would you like to come over for dinner? Jenny asks, and his smile widens. I'd be honored. Let me get my boots on and I'll follow you over, Sarge says, and the theme of the show starts playing again as credits start scrolling over still images of Sarge being shown around the home and enjoying the meal with the family. Saccharin. Sometimes you need something overly sweet. What's the old saying? A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, Sir Philip offers. It will have its uses, especially if the galaxy starts to associate the sound of a gunshot with positive things. But this could backfire. Everything can backfire, madam. We simply must pay attention and be ready. Sir Philip answers and she nods. Other than the saccharine nature, what do you think? I think I have little time for such frivolity. Ask someone who likes the blasted things, she says before turning around to leave the room. She's humming along ever so slightly with the music. The theme is catchy, if nothing else.